YouTube Niner Empire, welcome back to another video here. PFF ranks the 49ers receiving corps among NFL's elite, which is actually a pretty big that's a pretty big compliment for the Niners receiving core. And it really is. I'm not disagreeing with that, and I'm not being biased. But look, I mean, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk really hasn't hit his potential yet. Obviously, Kyle Shanahan had him in, well, you would say the doghouse for a portion of last season. And obviously that was due to basically Kyle Shanahan saying that he wasn't basically watching film right. And there was a lot of rumors about him not really preparing for NFL games right, not really taking things seriously. And Kyle Shanahan threw him in the doghouse, didn't play him really. And Brandon Ayuk took that personal and started paying attention more. Basically, they were saying he wasn't practicing to his full potential and things along that nature. And it really helped Brandon Ayuk, I think, for the most part, because anytime your head coach says that, you're going to take that personal and do whatever you possibly can to make things better. But either way, Brandon Ayuk's a great receiver. He showed signs of that as well, especially in that Cincinnati Bengals game last year. Brandon Ayuk's a great receiver. He has the potential to be one of the NFL's best receivers, to be completely honest. And I said it when Brandon Ayuk was drafted. He was really a more seasoned wide receiver, like an overall more well-rounded wide receiver than Deebo Samuel was. And that's no disrespect to Deebo Samuel. He's a top 5, top 3 receiver in the NFL. But obviously, Brandon Ayuk, his emergence at the end of last season is a very good sign for the San Francisco 49ers. He took over a lot of the pass catching load Deebo Samuel relinquished when his receiving touches turned pretty much to carries. Over Brandon Ayuk's final 10 games, he caught 43 catches for 684 or 85 yards and 4 touchdowns. If Brandon Ayuk picks up in 2022 where he left off, he could push the 1,000-yard mark as the team's number 2 wide receiver. And then adding, obviously, George Kittle as a part of that receiving group. Adding to that 1-2 punch gives the 49ers 3 legitimate high-level pass catchers who can impact, today's game at all 3 levels. Catching the ball and then, of course, after the catch as well. But obviously, I think the most exciting thing, and a lot of people are talking about this, the most exciting thing for the 49ers is their depth at the position. Jaywan Jennings, who really is kind of more so the Kendrick Bourne of the team when Kendrick Bourne was in San Francisco. Ray McLeod, they all have legitimate shots at making a difference as the 3rd wide receiver as well. And I think Juan Jennings probably has Ray McLeod beat, and that's just solely because Juan Jennings has been on the team longer. But Juan Jennings showed up in bigger games when it mattered most. The NFC Championship game, both times we played the Rams, when we beat the Rams to get a playoff spot, Juan Jennings has a lot of potential. And then obviously Danny Gray, who the 49ers got as well. He will also, probably be competitive right there, trying to get that 3rd or wide receiver 3 option. I think really for the most part, the 49ers have an elite wide receiver group, 100%. So really, I think for the most part, I think coming into this season, we could find these Niners receivers landing even higher on the list than what they are now. Obviously, if Deebo remains, that's the hope, and that's what it's looking like, is Deebo staying in San Francisco, which obviously is a very, very good thing. But Brandon Ayuk gets a lot of he gets a lot of criticism and whatnot, and that's solely just because of his situation and what his situation was last year when he was basically thrown in to the den, not playing any games because of how he was preparing and practicing and whatnot. And there were also talks about how he wasn't really taking it as serious as he should have been. So whatever Kyle Shanahan does with these players, I'm for, because obviously you want to trust your head coach of the team, and I think all the fans trust Kyle to put the best players on the field week in and week out. And he's seen something in Brandon Ayuk that we didn't see, and it is what it is. But Ayuk benefited from it. He came out after, he was put up in the dog den and started producing at a high level. So I still think Brandon Ayuk has the potential to be a more well-rounded wide receiver than Deebo Samuel. And what I mean by that is his ability to catch, his deep threat and things like that. Like I said, there's no disrespect to Deebo's potential because Deebo's the most important player on our roster, but Deebo does it all. Solely a wide receiver, I think Brandon Ayuk can be more well-rounded than what Deebo Samuel can, and I'm hoping that we can see that potential of Brandon Ayuk next season. I think it's obviously a high praise for Pro Football. I think it's Pro Football Focus or something like that to rank the Niners among the NFL's elite, but I'm definitely not disagreeing because the Niners definitely have one of the more premier elite receiver groups of the NFL.